but they do a loop.
They do that loop.
I see. Okay.
So they'll come in from that side.
Okay. Have you heard how Mark Mulherbert's going? Still?
No, I haven't heard yet. But they're there. There's a female.
The first
That's
woman
not
is
Anne,
being
Thrown out there. Well, was Anne Ashworth. There we go. We've got it confirmed now, in fact. Here we go. If I'd been watching the live production, I would have seen that. It is indeed our first woman in the 50 kilometer.
50 kilometers. Or the 50 miles.
Yeah. So they all come along here to finish eventually.
Eventually, yes. But they
They
still
got a 16k loop still.
Yeah, so they're coming in and then they'll go around and then they'll come back this way.
Is there any
Okay, come guys, let's go and have a look on that side.
coming this way?
There should still be some 42s in here.
Come on, John.
Stop, stop.
Well done. Well done.
Oh, thank you. He's right.
Ewan, this is very exciting. We can see on the screen, live on the screen right now, Anne Ashworth as third placed runner approaching our checkpoint, which is the final checkpoint of the Kepler 50 miler. She is the lead woman and she's in third place overall. Once she passes, she's still got a good 400 meters to go before she passes through us, and then from this point she'll loop out on the last 15k loop down to the Howick Falls and back to then reach the finish line.
Yeah, phenomenal running, Linda, from Anne Ashworth. As you mentioned, the leading lady in the 50 mile and currently third overall and running very strongly. She looks a lot stronger than the first two lead men who came past here, Philip Pakwago and Prodigal Kumalo. But you have quite a substantial gap on Anne at the moment, over half an hour. But also hats off to Terence, the cameraman, for keeping up with this relentless pace.
I don't know who I'm more impressed with, to be honest. Terence is doing so well. He's not needing to look where he's running, but yeah, all eyes on Anne there. I'm guessing that there's probably about 150 meters to go before she reaches, passes through our checkpoint. And as you say, Ewan, she's really comfortably striding it in. It's very hot, Ewan. I reckon it's already 32 degrees here where we are.
Yes, most definitely. And we're about to see her come past our vantage point where we are here, literally 5 steps away from the finish line. She's going to be very happy to be back here. But as you mentioned, still one more 10-mile loop that she will have to navigate as she leaves the Kepler Country Club. But she's going to come here to the Pirates Road Running Club aid station. It's been a very festive station. We've seen a lot of athletes coming to recuperate, get some more gels, get some liquids in, some ice, some food. There's basically any food you would want is available at these aid stations as an athlete, as we see Anne Ashworth now with our own eyes as well as on the broadcast, and she's looking very, very strong, Linda.
She really is. She really is. She's looking almost fresh, I would say. And at this point, she's already got 40 miles on her legs. She won't stop long here, Kewan. She's just having her number scanned. She hasn't stopped for anything. She hasn't reached
Wow.
food. She's heading straight on out. That means that she's feeling strong, Kewan. She doesn't need anything. She's all stocked up with water. That was literally a stop just to have her number scanned, and she's through. She's running through, and she's gone. She's through us. She's got 10 more miles to go, and she'll reach her 50 miler. And she will, providing everything continues as is, she will hopefully finish in 3rd place, which is fantastic.
Phenomenal running there by Anne, and I think probably since last night as well, when you saw the 100-mile leaders come through, I think that is the fastest pit stop, so to say, that we've seen at one of the aid stations. And I mean, Anne is a phenomenal athlete. Not only is she a 2:34 marathon runner, which is world class in its own right, she's a Comrades Marathon winner, one of the most competitive years ever. Currently the defending Comrades champion, so to speak, because she won that on the down run, and that's since to be repeated. But one of the longest courses ever in Comrades history, just over 90 kilometers, and she ran a phenomenal time that day, 6 hours 10 minutes. And the last 20 kilometers from Pound Town to Durban, only one athlete in the entire field ran a quicker last 20 kilometers than her, and that was race winner Bongmusa Mthembu. So that just shows you how strong she is, and not just physically but mentally as well, not stopping here to get anything and straight through.
Yeah, Kewan, I would say that that's clever strategy. That really is. That's well planned, well managed racing. It's really hot out there, and seeing how strongly she's come through.
Now she's had a little stop outside the gates with her personal seconding there.
And well, she's probably picked up cooler water, because by this stage any water that's left in the soft flasks is hot. So drinking hot water is not going to be a pleasant experience. But yeah, that is good race management. It's good personal management during these conditions. She anticipated them. She's obviously managed herself well, and she's showing it.
Definitely, as she makes her way into the Forester section just across the road from the Karkloof Country Club. When we had a break earlier in the transmission and broadcast, I actually took quite a long walk up into there, and it was not only beautiful but also very, very hot when you've got all the trees around you. And as you were mentioning earlier, Linda, they're going to be making their way down into the valley by the Howick Falls, and that's going to be excruciatingly hot down there.
Yeah, you know, one would think that this area that we're seeing Anne and Thomas, the cameraman, very impressively keeping up with her. They're running through a semi-shade, dappled shady area, and one would expect that to be a little bit cooler, but no, Kewan, you're right. The air will be still, and the only breeze that Anne will be feeling right now is the breeze that she's generating from the speed at which she's running, the pace at which she's running. So I'm not too sure how long that little bit of forest. Did you walk to the end of the forest?
No, I must admit I didn't.
It's quite a deep forest.
Yeah,
but
quite
as you say, she'll be descending ultimately into the Howick Falls, the base of the Howick Falls, to then loop back round and come to us for the last 5 miles of the finish straight.
And it's been interesting to see, you know, obviously with the pandemic, a lot of road races have been cancelled. You know, and as I mentioned, a Comrades Marathon winner, there's been no Two Oceans Marathon, there's been no Comrades. So we're seeing a lot more road athletes who don't have any other racing opportunities who have now been coming to the trails. It'll be interesting to see next year, once everything does hopefully get back to normal, are they going to stay in the trails, or is it going to be back to road running? But we did mention earlier how the trail running will actually help them immensely when they do go back to road racing.
Yeah, you're so right. In terms of hill strength, and of course endurance, because trail running is that much more arduous than road running. Interestingly though, Kewan, it's not as much of a hammering on the body and the joints and the muscles as tar. Tar tar is 90 kilometers of comrades on the body. Is a lot more costly on the body, on the muscles and the joints than, I believe, for me, in my experience, 100 Ks on trail. 100 Ks on trail takes a whole lot longer than 100 miles on trail takes a whole lot longer than 100 miles on tar would, but the hammering on the body will be less. It's less impact, it's not a monotonous stride. There's constant change, so it's a healthier form of ultra running, and I must say any form of ultra running is a great hammering on the body at the best of times.
No, definitely. And we'll probably just going to, while the athletes make their way through the forest, we'll ask one of our producers if they can just play one of the clips where one of the race directors, either Jack or Andrew, just give us a little bit more info into the Kepler 100 miler and 50 miler.
There we go. Welcome home. Our next marathon
Yeah,
finisher coming in. Give her a round of applause.
Start of the Kepler 100, and it goes down as one of a cracker, eh?
Totally.
In 2019 was a cracker, but sure.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, it was unbelievable. I'm sure there'll be a little video that'll go out very shortly. You guys can see what the atmosphere was like at the country club, but it's a perfect evening. It's getting a bit cool now, but a huge crowd in, and just a really inspiring evening of 100 milers going off into the night.
And what does the rest of the night entail? I mean, there's so much that goes into organizing the start. Now I guess it's getting ready for the first station. What does the rest of your guys' evening look like?
Getting to the start's always the hardest part, that's for sure. So we passed that, you kind of kick-started, and then a lot just happens. But yeah, with the new 10-mile loop coming straight back in here, we expect the first runners in after about an hour and a half or so normally.
Yeah.
And then it's a bit manic at the first aid station because the guys are still very keen and there's a lot of energy. But yeah, it's a long night ahead, eh? It's just the first night as well. So there's plenty for us to do, more for them to do. And we need to stay ahead of the field with all us. And the suppliers are out there, but just with our support of all of the runners. So yeah, we're constantly just pushing ahead of it until we get to the turn and then bring them all the way back.
Totally. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting evening. Andrew and I will split out, and he'll look after the course for a little bit, and then I'll head out to the back end of the course and hang around at the turn and make sure the guys start homeward bound. The leaders should be through there by 4:35 a.m. tomorrow morning. So the night will be long, but it'll be quick as well, which is cool. I dig it. I'm fired up.
Do you foresee any sleep, either of you?
Yeah, we learned that lesson in year one. You have to catch a bit of kip on night one. Night two, no, but tonight, yeah, definitely try for 3 hours, hey?
Yeah, that's why we're kind of breaking it up. Andrew's going to look after some stuff now. I'm going to head out there and get some kip in my car and wait for the cavalry to arrive.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was such a great vibe here. There were so many people. What can spectators and kind of the support, the family, what can the rest of the people who are not running expect?
Yeah, well, they're actually part of the race, the rest of the people. It's rich in its, I wouldn't call it spectator value, but just becoming part of the race, because you can go to all the aid stations other than Rockwood. You can see them at all sorts of little places along the way and get super involved. Like literally, you can pace, so you can run next to your runner, which is a unique thing about this race in its standing in almost all ultras across South Africa, is that families and friends and everyone can actually get super
Yes, I did. Sorry. Pardon?
The next finisher has been spotted. Bringing it home on the marathon distance. Almost 1 o'clock. Great effort, sir, all the way around. Your final corner. I'm sure you've been waiting for that sight for a little bit of time. But there we go. Finish is done and dusted. Scan you in there and come across to the hydration station. Get yourself a well-earned medal.
Andrew's been under Andrew. He's been the wrong Andrew.
Jordan, how are you doing? Thank you. That's perfect. Thanks, sir.
No, I'm still waiting for ice. Would you like some cold water though? There's no water. Yeah, it's just like cafe. Would you like some ginger? Maybe that'll.
We go, the next 50 miler coming through here. It's at a walking pace. A little bit spent, but welcome into the aid station here. Spend a bit of time recovering. We've got 10 miles to go. I didn't spend too much time here. I'm going to walk out the other side. Great effort. That's fourth place. Third in the
Our first woman through, Anne Ashworth, leading the race.
Our first woman through, Anne Ashworth, leading the race. Then we got Rockham's car next to finishers in the marathon. There's a cramp kicking in there with only about 100 meters to go, but I understand that pain. Hold it in there, somehow get yourself across the line there. That's the marathon distance. What the marathon distance can do to you around here. The 50 miler, the 100 miler. We've got the fifth place coming through the 50 in today.
Got a little bit of running in the leg still. Surprised to see so many 50s through before we see our first 100 miler. It is a slightly slower pace. By comparison to previous years, but here come our next two marathoners. There we go, straight, good finish line, there we go, sorry, tight right, I'm getting in the way here. Mr. Sabia, welcome. Okay, so sixth place, this is our sixth runner through on the 50, obviously missing somebody there, but we have 6 50-mile runners. They started an hour after the first of the hundreds turned, so they've gained an hour on them, and we still haven't seen our first 100. But that's where the race lies. It's going to be fascinating to see who comes in. We have heard some conversations of Mzwake, our 2019 winner, just ahead of one of the Pirates runners. Philip Pahuayo, I believe. So it's very close. The last I heard he was 5 minutes back, and that was probably about 8 Ks out, maybe 20 minutes ago. So they're probably within 5 Ks of us here. The leader 100 miler runners, maybe even closer. There you go, another 50-miler runner coming around the edge of the field there. Here we go, next 50 out of the blocks here. We've got another one coming in shortly, and then keeping our eyes peeled for that first 100.
Sorry?
Indeed, it's our second woman in the 50-miler come through here. As another one of our marathoners finish. All happening here at the Carcleve Trail Festival. Let's find out who we've got here in second place. Yolanda McLean, not too far behind Anne Ashworth. I'd put it at about 25 minutes would be my guess. You can check on the tracking system to find out exactly. But a super impressive 2 women in the top 7 or 8 runners here. I think she's coming 7th overall and placing 3rd overall. We haven't even seen a 100-miler. These guys started an hour after the 100-milers turned. So they've made that up. They've extended it. It's very hot. But yeah, some early fast running, I'd imagine, through and borne by most of the 50-milers into the section that takes them to the Bushwiller, getting plenty of water in here. She's got one final loop to do. There is a caravan aid station at the falls, so there is one more caravan aid station out there before they come across the finish line here.
Here we go, here we go.
On the course, are you going away? How long has you? Or are you going to be around a little?
There we go, let's welcome him in, everybody. He's waving his hands in the air. He came through here with a little bit of a lead. He's from the Pirates Running Club. His name's Philip, and he's going to take the win here. He's run all the way from Ben V. Fantastic effort, Philip. You deserve every little bit of it. Your finest finish line is through there. You haven't quite noticed. He's just enjoying the moment, ladies and gents. The winner of the 50 miler in 2021 in almost exactly 7 hours from Pirates. Philip Pahuayo, our 50 miler champion here this afternoon, ladies and gents. Great effort. That was exciting. We'll look for Prodigal Kumalo, who is a legend of a trail runner as well. He owns the record for Ultra Trail Cape Town. Come straight through. Yes, straight through. He owns the record for Ultra Trail Cape Town, so he knows exactly what he's doing. Welcome home to our next marathoner, all the way around the corner to the finish. Yeah, just to finish up with Prodigal, he's the top 10 Comrades gold medalist. We expect him in second place here very shortly. But great effort, and welcome home to you as well on the marathon. Been a tough day out there for many runners, stretching themselves here, asking lots of questions, and right now you're like, why did I even do that? Some of you, I know that, I can sense it, I can see it in your faces. But when you go to bed tonight and you wake up tomorrow morning, you'll know exactly why you did it. Well done, Philip, our winner of the 50 miler. Pirates celebrating there. I don't think they expected it necessarily. He comes more off a road background, but he's shown everybody how to do it here at Kepler 50 miler.
Well, beautiful visuals there, Linda, of the first Kepler 50-mile athlete coming through, Philip Pahuayo. Saw them come in through here, Linda, for the last loop that they had to do for the last 10 miles. That gap was over 5 minutes between Philip and Prodigal, so he cut down quite a bit of distance at the end there, but unfortunately for him, just ran out of retail estate there.
Yeah, and if I'm correct, both men have almost touched the course record. As far as, no, I'm wrong, sorry, 2020, although last year's format was a little bit different. So I think it's pretty fair to say that both men have pretty much scored the course record. I stand to be corrected there, but they've come in very close.
Yeah, that's
just sub 7 hours.
Yeah, no, definitely. Solicitor Mandawa, who you mentioned there last year, did that 6:32. He actually was in action today in the marathon, finishing a very close second there, and it was a phenomenal time, Linda, that they ran. The winner in the marathon ran at 2 hours 50 minutes. That's just over 4 minutes a K in these conditions.
Wow, yeah. It is incredibly hot. I know we're saying that often and a lot, but it is incredibly hot, and if it's hot for us here, it must be sweltering out there, and even more so in the final valley that the runners will go through, that only a handful of runners find themselves in or pass through now, because at the moment there's only 4 runners out there. Well, 2 runners have just come in, and then it's the 2 women.
Yes, that's right.
And a couple of men, all on the 50 miler. They're on their last 10-mile lap before they reach the finish line.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how much Anne Ashworth would have been able to take at the gap between Prodigal and Philip, because if we saw her when she came through there in the 3rd overall spot, she looked very, very fresh. Didn't stop here at the aid station, had her personal seconders out on the course, which she got a few drinks there, but Philip Pekwago, a very, very happy athlete. He runs for the Pirates Running Club up in Johannesburg, and he was dancing there, Linda, on the finish line.
Yes.
He looked so good, he could have almost maybe turned around and doubled up for the 100-miler there.
Maybe next year he will. Yeah, he did a really, really good timer. It might be my imagination. Prodigal Kewan, to me, looked a little bit disappointed because I'm guessing he was probably hoping to catch Philip on this last 10-miler, and he didn't manage to. Still an excellent time, sub-7.
In these conditions.
In these conditions, especially. The course record for the 50-miler was last year with the clover leaf format, but 6:32 with solicitor Mandua. But on this format, the normal conventional format, was the inaugural run in 2017 with Beniamino Pellegrini in 6:57, so just sub 7 hour, and that's what these guys have both achieved. So, and I know that year was a whole lot cooler than today.
Yeah, great running by the athletes today. We really have to take our hats off to them. You know, superb running. It is sweltering. I know that we've said the conditions here quite a couple of times already on the broadcast, and mentioning 32 degrees, but it definitely feels a lot warmer than 32 degrees. And you can't see it on your picture right now, but Prodigal Khumalo looks like a very broken man down there with some of his teammates and seconders, and that was a hard run from the man who's by far the fastest marathon runner in the field, 2:16 marathon best. He's a double Comrades Marathon gold medalist, and yeah, hats off to Philip Pekwago, though, new to the trail scene as well.
Yes.
You can also see he ran today's course in a pair of road running shoes, not your conventional trail shoes, which we saw Prodigal in. So perhaps today Carl Kloof has unearthed a future trail star in the form of Philip Pekwago himself, a sub 2:30 marathon runner.
Kewan, perhaps now's a good time to ask, because you really know your road running. You can refer to the Washi. The Washi, I'm sure many of the viewers know, is South Africa's road 100-miler, and in fact it's the oldest road 100-miler in the world, Kewan. Its inaugural race was in 1977, and so there have been 42 of them. Obviously it didn't happen this year and it didn't happen last year, so there have been 42, and the Washi has been won several times by a local South African runner called Johan van der Merwe in a time of 13 hours 7 minutes. In 2012 he set that record. He's won it several times since, but that was his best time. Now, Kewan, as you know, that's the 100 miles is the route is between Port Alfred in the Eastern Cape and East London, with a little loop to make up the distance, a full-on 100-miler, and it's hard, it's tough. Do the temperatures there get as hot as we've got today?
Yeah, I've only been to one Washi 100-miler before, and it was nowhere near the temperatures that we see today. It was a lot cooler. Almost I could compare it to how it was here for the start last night, that kind of coldness, especially overnight when the runners were on the road. But you know, as the runners made their way through to the daytime, it wasn't that bad, especially not what we're seeing now. But you know, as you mentioned, 100 miles on the tarmac and 100 miles on the trail, very, very big difference. But yeah, Johan van der Merwe, up from Pietersburg area, very, very good athlete. Also one of those athletes where the longer the distance, the better he gets. He's got a very talented son, JJ van der Merwe. He's, if I'm not mistaken, about 24, 25 years old. He's already run a 2:30 marathon. and he actually trains up in Pretoria with Stephen Mokoka, who's one of South Africa's best marathon runners, a 2:07 marathon runner himself. So his son, you can basically say like father like son. JJ partook in the Addo race earlier this year, but not in the 100 miler. I think he did the 65 or the 70k, I think one of the shorter distances. He was victorious there in his first attempt. So yeah, maybe we'll start seeing JJ van der Merwe as well at the Washi 100 miler one day.
And Kieran, you're absolutely right. You can't compare 100 milers, and that was it's a good example actually to compare to raise this issue about very runnable tar 100 milers. You know, they're a great challenge in their own right. Don't get me wrong, but certainly the ease of the terrain, no matter how hilly a road is, it's never quite as difficult as trail, because trail has more than just hills. It also has rough terrain, it has some technical. Kepler is certainly the least technical of South Africa's trail 100 milers. As you can see from the course record times and the winning times every year, you can always tell the degree of difficulty of a trail 100 miler when you compare one to one. You're not necessarily comparing apples with apples. But I would say that the Kepler compares very favourably, really in the same sort of scope as the Western States 100, which is one of the iconic 100 milers globally. And the Western States is very runnable, also very hot. And the course record for the Western States 100 is 14 hours and 9 minutes. Jim Walmsley, he has 3 wins, but that's his course record. It's a phenomenal course record. And Kieran, you were telling me last night that Jim Walmsley has got his eye on Comrades.
Yes, most definitely. He really wants to run Comrades. So for the past 2 years, unfortunately, that hasn't been able to materialize due to COVID-19. So what they did was his sponsor Hoka actually put on a world record attempt in America, where they attempted the 50-mile world record, and he broke that world record belonging to Bruce Fordyce back in the day. So that was a great performance. And then last year, or if I'm not mistaken, earlier this year, they had another world record attempt where they went for the 100-kilometer distance. It was quite emotional watching that event. I think it was around 50 to 60 kilometers into the race when Jim was now running on his own. He clipped a fence when he was running around one of the corners, and there was quite a lot of blood that was gushing from his arm. And long story short, he missed the world record that day by 9 seconds over 100 kilometers. So phenomenal athlete Jim Walmsley. As you mentioned, course record holder at the Western States. He's a 2:14 marathon runner, 1:03 half marathon, and whether it's trail or road, he's there, and you can count on him being on top of a podium. And it will be awesome to see Jim come up to South Africa next year for Comrades. And you know, speaking to Jack Davis last night about their intentions to grow this race, become part of the pro circuit, and you know, golden ticket to Western States. Maybe one day Jim Walmsley will grace us here at Kepler.
Why not? Why not? And let's see what time he can achieve. I think also while we're touching on tar 100 milers and ultra endurance races, I think it's worth mentioning that there's another iconic ultra, the ultra probably of ultras, that's being run this very weekend in Greece. That's the Spartathlon. The Spartathlon is from the Acropolis in Athens to Sparta, obviously based on the historic run. It's 153 miles. That's why I say it's the ultra of ultras. It's also hot, it's harsh, it's not a pretty course by all reports. There's traffic, there's broken curbs and lots of potholes and things that the runners have to negotiate. Not that it makes it technical by any chance, but it's a hard hammering, it's dusty, it's traffic congested. But interestingly, just to throw another curveball into all those challenges, it has a similar cutoff to the Kepler. It's 36 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an
And
interesting one.
we were talking earlier about all of these races like Western States, Kepler, the Sportathlon, and you've got quite an interesting friend, Mimi Anderson, who's done some heroic feats over ultramarathon. Would you like to tell the viewers some of the crazy distances that she's gotten up to?
Well, maybe Mimi will be even watching this. She might have her eye on Kepler. She prefers the less technical trails.
And maybe
she's
back to
very
back.
good on road and back to back. Yeah, Mimi has a lot of the world's great ultras under the belt and victorious in them. She's done Badwater. She's done Badwater as if that wasn't enough. She did it there and back the second time, making it 253 miles in that simmering heat of Death Valley. She did Sportathlon the one year, and then another year she did it there and back.
Wow.
So that let me do the maths. That's 153 miles times 2. She has been to South Africa and done many of our races. She's done 2 oceans back to back, and I mean proper back to back, turning around at the finish and going back and doing it again. Same with the Comrades. She's done the Comrades back to back. So she set off the night before, completed it in time for the start, for the regular start, and ran with the field.
And still ran a sub 10 hour.
Both of them sub 10 hours. Yeah, she's run many jungle ultras and desert ultras. So yeah, there's some phenomenal women out there.
See some more of the athletes coming through at the Pirate Station right next to us. These athletes look very, very worse for wear, but over 40 miles still in their bodies.
Yeah, Kewan, as we keep saying, it's incredibly hot out there, and obviously the sun will evaporate the sweat, but one never wants to not be sweating in these conditions. You have to take in enough fluid to be sweating, and the past 2 runners have actually walked in here. Look, they are still elite runners. They're at the front of they're certainly in the front 15, 12 or so of the 50 miler, but they're not sweating. These guys are dry and they're walking. And Kewan, it's interesting, they're the only ones who have been walking.
Yeah.
The ones who are not sweating are the only ones who have not been who have been walking. So this guy needs to drink and fast.
Yeah, it is quite concerning seeing a lot of them so dry, nothing on their skin. And I think there was 2 or 3 athletes before this gentleman right now who we saw that completely didn't even stop at the water station, and he was looking quite dehydrated. But a lot of the athletes with seconds out on the road, we saw Anne Ashworth only stop just to get her tag timed at the checkpoint, and then she had her personal seconders outside. But just looking on the screen, that's our first 100-miler athlete that's coming through there, and Mzwai, and perhaps not on record pace, but as we mentioned before, times are irrelevant. It's the victories that will forever stay.
Absolutely. I must say, Kewan, Anne, when she came through here now quite some time ago, she was in 3rd place overall on the 50 miler, and she looked phenomenal. And I was happy to see she was sweating lots, which meant that she had managed her water well throughout the race. As you say, she didn't stop at this particular Pirates checkpoint, but just through the trailhead arch over there, she had her personal second, where we saw on camera that she did refill with cool water. So that's great. She's running a carefully strategic, tactical race.
For Mzwake Kanyile, the athletes on the picture of your screen right now, it won't be that much longer until we actually see him here with our own eyes. He is in the grounds of the Kepler Country Club, many miles behind his legs at this stage, and still will have another 16 kilometers, 10 miles left once he gets through here. He did navigate the same loop last night, but of course that was a lot fresher body and also in the dark. So today will be the first time that he gets to see that in the sunlight. Although having said that, this is our course record holder, 17 hours and 27 minutes, his course record on this undulating course.
Not home, but welcome our first 100-mile runner into.
He hasn't got far to go. He's within, I'd say, 400 meters of reaching us. And yes, Kieran, as you say, once he passes through, although we are sitting at the finish line, our point is also the final checkpoint. Here he comes. He's certainly not walking. He's done double the distance of the previous guy who came through here, which was a 50-miler, and he's looking good.
Doing pretty well.
Yeah, looking very good there.
Going to quickly stop and get checked. Maybe a little bit of
He's having his number read. He's in a hurry. He's in a hurry. I suspect Kieran, he knows that his personal second is at the trail
right behind him. He's got a little lead here.
And he looks very good. And talking to all the spectators, well aware of his surroundings, he looks very strong. And a perfectly paced race as well.
Yes.
We saw at Maya and Kennedy the two early leaders that really went out there for the first half very fast, and as he makes his way out of the Kwarkloof Country Club to now do his last loop of 10 miles, he's looking very strong, almost reminiscent of Anne Ashworth, how she looked in the 50-miler.
Yes, indeed. To me, he looked almost a little bit pushed there. I wonder if he's chasing a time, or does he think that runner 2 is hot on his heels, because he really isn't. I don't know if he realizes, but he has a considerable lead. The live tracking is a little bit out of sync at the moment. Our viewers need to be reassured. But in Mzwaki, when our last live tracking was updated, which was quite some time ago, Mzwaki had a 90-minute lead. So he needn't be panicked, but perhaps he is chasing a personal time that he wishes to achieve. Kieran, you mentioned that he's off his course record time.
Yeah.
Prediction.
So just to put it into perspective, Mzwaki Kanyile, who's currently in your picture now with his pacemaker there, he holds the course record here, 17 hours and 27 minutes. The time now has just gone 17 hours 22 minutes,
oh, I see.
And he still has 10 miles left. So that just shows you the brutal conditions that the athletes are really facing today. But that's Mzwaki making his way into the forestry section, and he's just got under 16 kilometers left. So around about an hour 30, Linda, an hour 40 until we see Mzwaki coming and hopefully crossing the line first. We've seen a lot of changes throughout the day, but I don't want to put any commentator's curse on the man, but to me, he's looking still very strong.
Kieran, I think something would have to go horribly wrong for him to not take this race. But yes, it's the race is never won until it's actually won. Anything can happen, particularly in trail.
Took a while to pass that because it's not easy.
But well done. Welcome home. Take a sharp right and underneath the Kwarkloof Trail Marathon finish line there.
doesn't know your name, and your heart beats like a subway train. Ooh, it makes you wanna die. Ooh, don't you wanna take her? Wanna make her for your own? Seen this thing before in my best friend dance the bar next door. Ooh, loud and full of fire. Coming from the rain, she's ocean running down the drain. Blue as ice and desire. Don't you wanna make her? Don't you wanna take her home? Don't you wanna break her? Don't you wanna take her home? She walks like she don't care. You wanna take her everywhere. It makes you wanna cry. She's like a millionaire, walking on a funny air. Ooh, it makes you wanna die.
Jackman, welcome home. Tough day out there. Another marathon finisher. Congrats, guys. I think a few jugs over the head to cool them down initially, hey? Make sure you get your finisher badge there as well. Can't go home without that. Cool them down nicely. Get some Coca-Cola into the system. Often one of the best things. There we go. Two more as well. All the way around the corner here. Not unfamiliar faces, I don't think. But well done, guys. Tough day out there. Not only one of them is a finisher, though, on the marathon. Bringing around a bit of emotion, and when one pushes oneself really hard, digs deep. And there we go, another finisher creeping through as well on the marathon. Congrats. You're actually looking like one of the most intact finishers, number 953. Well done. There we go, another runner coming in. It looks like second place in the miler. Indeed it is. He's Mzwake has built himself a big lead, but is from Pirates, our second place 100 miler coming through here. I think he's going to need a little bit of nutrition, a bit of hydration before we send him out on his final 10 miles before he gets to the finish line. Looks, unless something major happens out there, that the race is comfortably in Mzwake's hands for the second time. But yeah, it's certainly a hot day. Things are playing out. We're going to start to see more and more 100 milers come through here.
You start running with them from there. So you can't run through this section with them, but you can talk to them here, but they must go through here to get scanned, regardless of, and then you pick them up on the other side. The other side of this thing, and we go out, and then you go. Oh, but he's got a blue number. You got orange number. Oh, but he had an orange number. But you must make sure of that. No, he has got an orange. Who told you? Who said he is? Why don't you go double check with the Pirates?
There we go, heading back out onto course.
Short, got that.
There's one more caravan. Don't make any bananas, sweet potatoes, anything?
Perfect, thank you. One more lap, you say?
Exactly.
I agree.
Yeah.
There we go, some solid support for another of our 50 miler runners having to head out there again. Only 10 miles to go. Another 50 miler coming through here. Still haven't seen second place in the 100. I thought we had, but I've been told that the previous orange number was in fact a 50-mile runner. So only one gone through in Mzwaka Kanyile, leading quite comfortably now. There we go. Man and child. We saw it earlier in the 10, but here we go, across the line in the marathon. Well done. Great effort on a tough day out there. Lots and lots to talk about. Almost 2 o'clock.
Look what you did. My favorite dress. I can't believe it. It's just fun. So cute. Nice! Yay!
Thanks, guys.
Welcome home, guys. Great effort out there. Certainly not for the faint-hearted in conditions like this. 42 kilometers, full marathon on trail here in the Karkloop, Honey Loop, Milk Loop, and you're back. Well done, guys. Let's get you scanned in. Sorted. Yeah, that's the way to do it. A bit of water over the head, a bit of Coca-Cola into the system. Try to feel a bit better. There we go, our next finisher coming across the line. Well done. Certainly a tough day out. But great effort. Let's come and cool down. Oh, I can feel it.
Okay. Do you have a bottle? Okay. Yes.
respect. East side love is written on the west end. Knock out the ball, you better come to. Don't die in love, but you can come to. Go right your message on the pavement. So back to wonder what the wave meant. White feet are screaming in the jungle. Don't beat the motion if you stumble. No hustler, that's for any answer. Go back strong with 50. The world I love, the tears I talk to be. I love the way you can't stop. Ever wonder if it's all for you? The world I love, the trains I have to be. I love the way you can't stop. Come and tell me when it's time to. Sweetheart is bleeding in the snow cone. So smart, she's leading me to ozone. Music, the great communicator. Use two sticks to make it in the nature. I'll get you into penetration. The gender of a generation. Love out of every other nation. Don't wait to go to meditation. This chapter's gonna be a close one. Smoke rings and then you're gonna blow one. All on a spaceship of a beering. Use my hands for everything we're fearing. Can't stop the spirit when they need you. No stop the happen when they need you. Take butterflies in the guitar. Let's get the meaning in the beat. The world I love, the tears I just to be part of the wave can't stop. Ever wonder if it's all for you? The world I love, the trains I have to be part of the wave can't stop. Come and tell me when it's time to. Wait a minute, I'm passing out when all is just like you. Oh, shocking in anything I ever knew. How about you? Tell more reasons why I need somebody new, just like you. It's almost shocking in anything I ever knew. Right on cue. Can't stop addicted to the shindig. Jump off his head, I'm gonna win big. Choose not the life of imitation. This is nothing to your motivation. Keep off the pistol that you pay for. Keep off the feeling that you stay for. In time, I hope to be a best friend. East side love is living on the west end. Knocked out before you better come to. Don't die, you know that you can come to. Don't write your message on the pavement. Burn so bright, I wonder what the wave is. Kickstart the dog and generate her. Sweet talk, but don't intimidate her. Can't stop the gods from engineering. Feel no need for any interfering. Your image in the dictionary. This life is more than ordinary. Can I get you maybe even 3 of these? Coming from a space to teach you what the pleiades. Can't stop the spirit when they need you. This life is more than you can do. It's in the end of the time. Sleeping with brothers, sleeping in here in the sun.
Better run it. Yeah.
Here we go, next 50 coming in for his final aid station.
Let me scan you quickly and then these guys will help you with food, water, coke, whatever it is you need. So I'm just gonna hold that still.
There we go, brilliant, well done. a wave, everything. It's happening. Well done, guys. Great to have you back here.
So, you know.
There we go, next finisher coming in under the arch. Well done. Great effort on the marathon. Why? Because
is that in Maya? Nah. Not. Okay, cool.
Well, he'll be our second place.
How's it going? What do you want?
There we go, looking onto the field there. Andrew Erasmus making an appearance into the final aid station here. Zwake leading. There was someone who came through with a red, orange bib that confused us slightly, but he's on the 50, so this is our second place runner.
Come on, that's pretty epic, eh?
It's quite far behind him, Zwake, so I don't see any chances of him making a last dash for it and reeling him in, but a very comfortable second place. Nice one, Andrew. Got some pacers with him, got a whole team with him. They'll sort him out, get him ready for the final lap.
We'll get your body temperature down now.
There's a buffer there.
What do you want? Where?
Always got to check which direction the runner's coming from when you hear the round of applause, but it's a 50 miler. He's coming into the final aid station. The excitement, it looks like another Pirates runner. And then another 50. He's actually got some form left in his running. Great stuff. Not many people still running so comfortably at this late stage.
Yep. Sorry, bro.
So close. So she's seen it.
All right. Few Ks out back by the river. We've had reports from our crew out there that the First Lady shouldn't be too many kilometers out now. Should be getting pretty close to the line here. They go another 50 coming into the aid station. Well done to you in these testing conditions. Just after 2 o'clock. Another hour or so. Another about 4 o'clock. We're going to start to see some beautiful weather. So about another 2 hours of this type of weather, and we'll be through the worst of it and into the coolness of the evening, which we all love. It's going to drop down very nicely, and some people will use the whole night to get back through and to the finish line tomorrow morning.
So these oaks must have been quite short on their last loop because of what they did. Because they taken much longer than them. So what? This is like maybe 2 or 3 Ks. So they did short, yeah. But you can see it in the and maybe slowed down a little bit as well. You can also see it in their time. But I believe she's quite close now. That's what we phoned and asked. Because people come to me and they ask me all these questions. Where's this person? Where's that person? How do we get You know what we should have done is run the honey loop as the half. I think that would have worked, eh? Instead of that side, it would have been cooler. And also you run up first and then down. The aid station's more in the middle. That aid station position's a bit of a problem. It's too far this way.
Third place, 100 miler coming into the house here, ladies and gents. It looks like Kennedy, I think.
Sorry? Almaya.
Almaya, sorry, getting it wrong there. It's not. Kennedy dropped off the pace there. Third place. Almaya, well done. Great effort there. He's got another 10 miles to go.
Like they come in here, they're so cool, they're doing all their stuff, but really. Have you got a line into them? Yeah, I'll get Magma in there quickly. Hey, how are you going?
Good, and you?
Not too bad, eh?
Hey, you awake?
Sorry?
You awake?
Yeah, I am, man. I got about, I dropped into bed at about,
Sarah,
yeah, I think we have met once, eh? Yeah. At about 12:30, and like that light sleep until 3. Just couldn't.
But you're not sleeping properly.
No, and every time
Busy in
I
your head
check my
going
phone,
on and-
exactly. But yeah, it's been a hot day, but the night was
Well, welcome back to some of the live broadcast of the 2021 Parkloof 100 miler. And Linda, we've seen some exciting stuff here. Mzwake, the course record holder, 17 hours 27, is not going to be broken today, but well on his way to victory. We just saw the second and third athletes to come through here. Andrew Erasmus now moved up into the second spot. So could it be a second spot for him at Parkloof, or will Admire Muzompambwa, who's just come through the feeding station now, be able to fend off that position and go from third to second?
Yeah, I think that's certainly less than 5 minutes between them, isn't it? Possibly as close as 4. So it's a strategic thing, and of course Andrew won't know that, but Admire will, and that's always the advantage of the runner behind. So the runner who's chasing, he or she knows the distance ahead, but the runner being chased, it's there's always advantages and disadvantages of being the chased. If you know you're being chased, you can hot tail it and actually run a faster race. But if you don't know how far behind the next runner is, and you overconfident about it, it can see the downfall of your position.
Definitely, especially over a distance of 100 miles. But so far we've had 2 finishers in the 50 mile. Philip Pakago from the Pirates Running Club taking that victory just a tad under 7 hours, and he was closely followed by a very fast finishing Prodigal Kumalo in the colours of Hollywood Bets. And now we're just waiting for our third athlete to cross the line. Shouldn't be too long from now, and not only will the athlete be third position, as we see her there on the screen, she's going to be the leading lady as well, Anne Ashworth. A phenomenal performance that we're witnessing today, still looking as strong as she did when she came through this last checkpoint, probably around just over an hour 10, an hour 15 ago.
Indeed, I see she's holding a soft flask in her hand, still has water in it. It means she's conscious of her drinking still at this late stage. It is great. You keep drinking in this weather until you cross that line if you can. That's excellent. You're right. She's keeping up an excellent pace. Remember, Kieran, she came through this checkpoint. We're at the final checkpoint, and of course at the finish. She came through looking stronger than the 2 men ahead of her. Actually, we both agreed on that one, and maintaining a really good pace. And this pace looks no different.
Yeah, Anne looking very, very strong. I know her husband, David Ashworth himself, a sub 2 hour 30 minute marathon runner there as well, is out on the course supporting her. He was also due to run today, but unfortunately a little niggle put plan to his start today. But yeah, Anne looking very, very good, and using this as preparation. Of course, no comrades this year, so she'll be out in action at the Ultra Trail Cape Town 100 kilometer later this year in your hometown, Linda.
She will indeed, and before that she's doing the Cape Town Marathon Trail Marathon in the middle of March. So it's soon, very soon. Sorry, the middle of October. That's very soon. And being a road runner is obviously most comfortable on road, but she's taken to trail very well. She's shown that, and she possibly needs to just hone her technical ability a little, and she'll perform outstandingly at UTC at the end of November.
Yeah, second trail race of the year for Anne. She took part in the Ultra Trail Drakensberg earlier this year, over 100 kilometers. Just looking at the camera there, smiling and giving a little bit of a laugh there, so you can tell she's well within herself and well on her way to record another victory today. But as you mentioned there, that she can work on her technical ability. It will be interesting to see how she does do in a race like Ultra Trail Cape Town, where there are very, very technical sections, especially between the 20 to 30 kilometers as the athletes make their way up through the rocky terrain in Table Mountain.
Yeah. She actually she did a race before UTD. She did Drakensberg Northern Trail and won that. It was a 40K. But here she comes. She's soon to cross the line. First lady and third overall.
miler, there we go, all the way around.
Keeping up still a great pace.
The finishing shoot, it's Anne
Fantastic.
Ashworth,
What a
third
win.
place overall
What a
as
win.
well.
What a
What a
brilliant
superb
performance.
And
effort.
still smiling, look at that.
Just
Excellent.
over 7 hours and 16
Unbelievable.
minutes. So phenomenal performance there.
That is.
We'll catch a few of her words later,
Comrades
but
Marathon
amazing
champion, Ultra
to
Trail Drakensberg,
have really
100
pushed
kilometer
hard there,
champion, and now the
kept the men on their toes the whole
50
race
miler
and come
champion.
third overall, winning very
Linda, any
comfortably in the
predictions?
women's.
Do you think she could go on to be the Ultra Trail Cape Town 100 kilometer champion later this year?
I think everything will depend on her technical ability. She will need to go there and practice on technical terrain because anybody needs to with trail needs to simulate the race conditions, and that will be critical. She will be spending some time there in mid-October after she runs the Cape Town Trail Marathon in mid-October, and she'll play on those mountains. She'll play in my backyard in Hout Bay, and I think come end of November she'll be ready.
Most
It'll be an
definitely.
interesting race.
Just getting some well-earned refreshments there with her medal already around her neck. And there is the welcome from her husband, David Ashworth. Both themselves very, very fast and accomplished athletes. Dave himself, a sub 2:30 marathon runner, quite accomplished in the Comrades Marathon as well. And back in 2018, when Anne did win that Comrades Marathon, I think they were the fastest husband and wife on that day, Linda, by a very, very long way.
Right. I'm just looking at the stats here, and I see that Anne has actually broken the women's record for the 50-mile Carcliff. The previous fastest time was in the inaugural race, 2017, set by Nandi Zalumi Mitchell of 8:29, and by my watch we're on a good 8:15 or thereabouts. So the unofficial finish time for me, but she's certainly well within that. So yeah, kudos to her. And the women have performed extremely well. Jo Kepler is still busy out there on her 100-miler. She leads the women's race.
We should be seeing her soon,
she's
hopefully.
Not far off. She's in. We think she will be the next 100-miler through our checkpoint. We're not too sure how far out she is.
And that would have then made her fourth position.
Yes.
Overall.
Position overall. Of course, she will need to still do 10 miles from this point down into the valley of the Howick Falls area, which is still going to be baking at this time. Although the sun isn't at its highest anymore, it's still the earth is now hot. It's baking out there. It's still easily 32 degrees, and of course the runners are generating their own heat. They're hot. It's hot out there, and we've seen some very uncomfortable faces come through on the 50 milers when they pass through this checkpoint. And it's all about managing your nutrition and your hydration through the day that sees you strong now at this point.
Well, one thing that I did pick up was when Anne did come through that checkpoint before she made her way out onto that last 10-mile loop, she looked a lot stronger than the first two males who were ahead of her. So it'll be interesting to see how Jo does look, because Andrew Erasmus, who was in second position, and Atmaya Muzompangwa, when they came through here, they spent a fair deal of time at the last checkpoint, and we saw Andrew on his way into the Carcliff Country Club. There was a lot of walking that was happening. So if Jo is still very strong over that last 10 miles, maybe we might see another repeat in the 100-mile race, and Jo can run herself onto an overall podium finish.
Wouldn't that be wonderful? I did notice that Andrew Erasmus was the first user of poles in our 100-mile contingent through this point. Poles is a personal preference. They certainly save energy. We'll certainly see more and more pole users as the field come through. But certainly he was the first of the elites to be using poles.
And just in terms of the poles, Linda, for myself, as a non-trail runner. I'm very much a road runner myself. So what is the benefit of using poles in an event like Kepler where the course is not necessarily that technical?
Providing you know how to use them and you get into a proper pole hiking stride, and it takes practice to learn it, but when you do, it's a good rhythmic pace. It enables you to speed up ever so slightly. It gives you a slight little push in the final thrust, and it's an energy saving. I'm not a huge fan of poles because for me, I find they occupy my hands, which means I then eat and drink less, because of course it's a bit of a fiddle to then reach for food, and I find I delay it, I put it off, I'll say, oh, after that rise over there I'll have food, and you shouldn't do that, especially in these conditions and especially in an ultra. You need to be systematic and methodical about your fueling throughout, whether it's night or day, or hot or cold. You need to fuel and hydrate, because you're eating now for later.
Most definitely, hydration a very, very key element in not just the ultra trail running, but just in running itself. We're seeing a lot of the athletes coming through just asking for jugs of ice cold water. They're asking for the coldest water possible just to pour over their heads. I've seen quite a lot of the athletes as well with their hydration packs, stuffing ice into it as well. So yeah, they've been at it for a long time. Almost 85 miles when they get to this point, or sorry, 90 miles for that mistake there, sorry about that. And 10 miles still to go. A long way still to go for a lot of the athletes. And that's for the elite athletes. How many athletes are still well back within the course who will look at finishing by hopefully tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow morning, hopefully. They've still got the whole night to go. Yeah, and for these athletes, because of the heat, and those athletes because of the time out there and time on their legs and just general fatigue, approaching the final checkpoint that we're at, because I must remind viewers, we're stationed at the final checkpoint, but it is also the finish, because from here the runners must still go out and back in a circular route that is 10 miles before they then come back here for the finish line crossing, and that's a huge whack on the psyche. You know, they all know that that's going to happen. It's not going to be a surprise, but it's hard. It's hard to approach a vibey checkpoint from which they will get energy, but then they have to push themselves out of it, out of the checkpoint and back onto the trail for that last slog. And it's not an easy slog. It's down to the Howick, the base of the Howick Falls, and then back in a circular route back out again to get back here. So it's going to be a big ask of many of them.
And down there, I'm sure in the valley there by the Howick Falls, it's going to be extremely hot. So whatever the temperature is there, you can add a couple degrees onto that, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, the athletes making their way through. We've only had 3 100-miler athletes come through so far. So we are waiting for the 4th. We look behind us to look if we can see Joe Kepler perhaps, or one of the other athletes coming through, but can't see anyone at this stage. And it is, like you say, on their psyche. They come through here, they still have another whole loop to do, but you can even see the finish line venue from probably about 2 kilometers out, but it just takes forever to get here.
Absolutely. Perhaps we should chat about paces and the integral role that paces play motivating runners. And I suppose we might need to remind viewers that paces are not compulsory, of course, in this race. They're optional.
And here's Joe.
We have Joe. There's Joe.
First lady.
Very exciting.
She's our leading woman, and she's
still looking good, Linda?
Absolutely still looking good.
So she's made her way deeper and deeper into this
Pardon
field.
my distraction,
Starting,
viewers,
I think,
but I have a personal interest in how Joe is doing. I'm privileged to coach her, and she is doing phenomenally. Joe's a very talented runner. She's able to dig deep when she needs to, and she's very focused. I can see she's in the zone. She's making full use of this table. The Pirates road running checkpoint is looking after her very well, pouring water down on her head. She's wet her cap. She's now drinking. it's everything she needs to be doing, and she looks as though, yeah, she's certainly got all her wits about her, and off she goes. Off she goes. That's excellent. And I always suggest to my runners, encourage them to walk out of a checkpoint eating. So eat at the checkpoint and have food in your hand. So she's eating. She knows to do that.
The 100 mile, everybody.
And she has a considerable lead.
She's got 10 miles to go.
She has 10 miles to go, as Andrew Booth, the organizer, has just said over the mic.
Kepler.
And she's very sensibly not sprinting out.
She actually signed up for the
getting her
very
food
hot
down.
out there. Yeah, she's eating her last mouthfuls. That's great.
And
She'll
ran
start running when she's ready.
Only 6 weeks to go.
She's topping up a
Hey,
little
I'm
more,
feeling good. I really
and
think
she'll
I
be
can
off
do the
soon.
100 miler. And she came through.
She knows what to do.
Well that first year, but has become a completely different runner since then, and really upping her
Game considerably,
between,
showing us how it's done here.
Between
Incredible
runner
effort there,
number
Joe.
3 and Joe being 4th, so she's in the top 4 of the 100 milers at the moment.
Not that long, Linda.
It was
Probably around 10 minutes or so. At Maya Muzompangwa, he was
Yes.
the third place athlete.
And he
in
was
there.
very close on Andrew Rasmus. Andrew at Maya was just minutes behind Andrew, leaving the checkpoint, and we're estimating that was roughly 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
The advantage that Joe will have as the runner to follow is that she will be told that. People will tell her that. She will know the gap that she has if she can catch up on the runners ahead of her. And knowing Joe, she will want to work on that. She's got 10 miles to do that. 10 miles is a long way, a good 16 Ks. And there you go, she's broken into a run. As I say, she knows what she's got to do, and she'll do it. It's a hot section, this little bit here. Yes, she has a dappled shade, and that's all very well, but the air is also very still in that forest. There's no air, and there's no movement of air, and it's a hot day today. But she's clearly managing herself well. She was sweating when she came through here, which I was very happy to see. Some of the runners that have passed through here, both for the 50 and the 100 miler, showed that they were not sweating, they weren't even glowing, which means they're dry. They haven't drunk enough, they haven't managed their fluids.
A lot of salt on the skin as well,
absolutely.
we saw.
And interestingly, those runners who were dry-skinned were walking into the checkpoint. They weren't running. And Joe was certainly sweating, and she jogged in comfortably.
Well, great running by Joy Kepler, the current lead lady of the Karkloof 100 miler. And I don't want to put bets down, but I think from my side, Joe definitely has the race under wraps on the ladies section. There's still a long way to go, 10 miles, as you mentioned, 16 kilometers to go. But I'm going to put it out there and say, I think Joe is going to come through in the top 3 overall here at the end of the day.
That would be fantastic, an overall podium. Yeah, I say go girl, go
Especially
girl.
for someone who only started this ultra trail business 2.5 years ago.
She did. She actually leapt straight into it. She had run before. She had run on and off over the years. Certainly not any distance to speak of like this. But yeah, Joe has beaten a lot of challenges. And in 2019, she'd overcome lots of personal challenges and got herself to the Karkloof 100 miler and leapt straight into the deep end, with her first big race being the Karkloof 100 miler. And she came 4th. She pushed really hard, had to dig really deep, and she was just reminding me last night that it was the toughest day and night, well, night, day and night of her life. And she hopes never to feel that way again. And of course, she's not likely to, providing that she keeps up the excellent training and development that she has been through. She's learned a lot since. She's gaining experience, and with every race, she's learning and achieving.
And you mentioned training there, Linda. You are a coach to not only many of the elites that are out here today, but also a lot of the runners taking part. In terms of when it comes to road running, training for a race like Comrades, I myself know you do a few long runs, you go up to 70 kilometers sometimes for those long runs. When training for an event, just for the viewers at home who are watching, who have no idea what it takes to train and run 100 miles, what are the type of sessions that athletes would have to do in terms of long runs? I mean, to run 160 kilometers, you obviously can't do that in training at one go, but what are the type of long runs or even speed work and duration of training programs when training for something like a 100 miler?
Absolutely. You certainly still need to do speed work, tempo work, but the most fundamental workout besides long runs is hill workouts, and they work to obviously strengthen legs, strengthen lungs, and strengthen stamina and endurance. And the different types of hill work are strategic, and also they'll be course specific. So you train, if it were possible, you train for the race that you're aiming for on similar terrain. And often you can't. I mean, you might be living. I've had runners who are living in Amsterdam, and they're training for UTMB, Ultra Trail Mont Blanc, which is really, obviously it's in the Alps. So
technical and hilly.
Yes, so it's both of them, and so they have to try and make do and use what they've got, what they've got to train on. It's not easy, but certainly hills. There's a lot of bang for bucks in hill work and hill training.
And in terms of the long run, what is the furthest that you would get up to training for something like a 100 miler?
I recommend what I call a number of training blocks or weekend blocks in a certain time span. Before an ultra like this, you would do your final block. 4 weeks before that, you will do your second last block. I'm working backwards here, and they are 3-day consecutive long runs with a certain amount of vertical gain if you are doing mountain training for a mountain run. So incorporating vertical gain or elevation and long. So you're working on strength, stamina, endurance.
So not all in one go.
Of mind and body. Yeah.
Awesome training facts there from the legend, the legendary Linda, well known on the trail running scene. But so far, 4 athletes through in the 100 miler. It'll be interesting to see where Martin Malherbe is. Yes. He was right up there earlier on. And Kennedy Sukute, who was one of our early leaders through to the halfway mark.
Indeed. And the last time we had a live update of the results was quite some time ago, more than an hour, and
what's your name?
In fact probably an hour and a half, and
Corinne's
Jo was behind both of those runners. So at what point did she overtake them? I'd love to know, and I'm also very keen to see where the second lady is, Debbie Mahoney. She's
came under the radar here today.
Absolutely, I'm calling her the wild card in this race. But I've since ginned myself up a bit about her. She's done 10 Comrades. Her 10th was a silver, so she's an accomplished runner in her own right. Absolutely. It seems that this is her first 100 miler. I'm not actually sure, but yeah, she's a powerhouse in her own right, and I'm looking forward to seeing her crossing through this checkpoint soon.
No, definitely. It'd be great to see Debbie and just to see how strong she is looking. But talking about crossing checkpoints, hopefully not too long from now we'll see our men's winner come through in the 100 mile. He had a very big lead on Andrea Rasmus and Maya Muzompangwa, and I think it's not too long until our leader comes through.
Fantastic.
He looked very, very fresh and still very strong as he came through the checkpoint.
Indeed. I wonder if we can cross over to any live footage of what's happening on that final 10 miles.
Oh, thank you. It was amazing.
Finished.
Yay! So where do we run into?
Straight to the washer. On to the second one.
Paparazzi.
Hold on, second one.
I nearly stopped.
Eyes wide open.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I did it. It was that.
We go, welcome home. Marathon finisher coming in.
It was so short. What's that? Yeah.
Here we go, some of our next 100 miners coming into the aid station here. I think 1 or 2 50s involved there as well. Welcome in, guys. Rapping Parkings knows all the conditions compared to.
On your head or your It wasn't cold water on you?
And you want to watch the
What do you want to them? Water or tailwind?
cold water is great, please. Without another Jack. Please. What a
Some phone over there.
Still don't have it.
Guys, is there another mini aid station out there?
As you just moving up the shit over here, I hope this niggas up making me fall asleep. All the people know when I falls outside. When that is trying to bring sense to the pieces. But we keep it strong. I wanna keep you moving, yeah. You can go on a leader, yeah. I knew the first time I saw you there, yeah. You can go on a leader, gotta go. That's gonna be you already know my gotta go. Me, I can't lie, oh. I know the girl in my ticket. Can I see you my ticket? I'm just feeling you like what you're believing. particular. I like your whiskey particular. Everyone else, I like you, girl, particular. You particular. I like your whiskey particular.
Beautiful moment as we welcome home what I think are our last finishers. Hey, Lauren? Oh, no. There's still one lady. There we go. Lauren's in touch with the back of the 42-kilometer field, having been out there a little bit. But well done, guys. Superb effort. Love having people like this come and take on our challenges.
was a guy. See those tall? I think he stood up, but there was a guy. Look, it's probably become a bit of like mass panic where one person saw someone come in on that corner and I think they just slumped underneath those trees in the shade. And I think it's this person coming now actually. Yes. So he may have slumped. I know what it's like. Or tripped, or he's just like falls underneath there. But I then looked. I saw you guys go out, and then I looked back there, and I did see a figure there, and the figure was then gone. So. Sorry.
Pirates Aid Station getting very busy up front here. Lots of 50s coming through, couple hundreds, we've seen them as well. And it won't be long until we do welcome home our very first 100 miler. Bit of drama every now and again. People being seen taking a little bit of a tumble on the corner there. Got us into a little bit of a panic. But here we go, everybody. Welcome home. This is our second woman in the 50 miler. Catching us slightly off guard as they often do. But fantastic effort. Well inside the top 10, I think placing 6th or 7th overall. Really good to see the women doing so well, as they often do in the ultras, and top 6 places seeing our first 2 women. Anne and Yolandi, really fantastic ultra runners, represent our country very proudly. There we go, some fun and games. Cooling down under the aid station here. It's certainly something that we need to do.
But apparently Trail Marathon Series medals are due today. I have to pay points.
Got it in the morning. He did it, bro. Yes, I'm proud of you. Okay, Byron, go off me. Just check it out. I'll see you guys. I'm going to see if you need shoe chains or something.
It's just like a street progress now,
Okay, got a good job.
Here we go, just double checking the results here, and we can actually confirm that the first two men across the finish line in the 50 miler were well ahead of the rest. The next two people across the line were Anne and then Yolandi, so placing third and fourth overall in this year's Karkloof 50 miler. Got an exciting race. Well, it looks like Mzwake will probably take it, and it won't be too long until we see him come in. But equally, we do have Joe Kepler lying fifth at this stage, but fourth and third were well in her sights. And you never know, she might just use these last 10 to reel them in and claim a podium position. She wouldn't be the first to do so. We have had that in this race before, but still, how fantastic it would be to see.
Come on and let me know. Should I cool it or should I blow? Should I stay or should I go now? There will be trouble. If I stay, it will be trouble. So you gotta let me know. Should I cool it or should I go? Should I stay or should I go now? If I go, there will be trouble.
ACL.
16 Ks.
What needles are? Can't stop breathing, I don't think. What's going to stop? That's one, Brad.
There we go, back out into the final 10. It's a struggle at this time of the day and the event, but things will start to cool down just shortly. But enjoy your last 10 if you can. There is some river frontage and a bit more out there. But here we go, our next 250 milers, guys, coming in side by side, hand in hand. They'll place 5th and 6th overall, but it looks like a dual podium because it is the 3rd and 4th men coming across the line here. So because of their all the way around, guys, but we're going to give it to both of you. It's a tie 3rd for the men's position on the podium there. Great effort. One more ladies' position on the podium, but it does bring 5 into the finish on the 50 miler.
Guys, that is horrendous.
Stop whining.
It's hot out there, eh? How was that? Nice, guys. It's beautiful.
A couple more 50 milers, 100 milers coming into the aid station here. All dominated by 50 milers. We haven't loading on the course, but we haven't got into the second at all. We only see definitely getting to that point on the race where people have to run easy.
100-mile leaders.
I know we'll meet again when it's your turn. Remember to hold your eyes, tell me where to do. Still hard and make it better. You that I want like, that I want like. Will you remember as the years go by? And if you miss me, keep in mind, I'll always be there when the night is hard. And I'll stop holding on, don't let me go. And I close my eyes, I know you hear something alright. I just feel young, don't go behind.
Cheers. Yeah, they're fine. Put your camera there again. So I've got nothing.
We got the world in our hands, so we're ready to play. They say we're wasted, but how can we waste it if we're loving every day? Okay, I got the keys to the universe, so say, baby, cause I got the keys, baby. Wanna wake up on vacation and we come on. I wanna live fast, never look back, so we be born. Wanna wake up one day, wondering where to go. We'll be home before we know. I wanna hear you sing it, hey, mama, don't stress your mind. We coming home tonight, hey, mama, we're gonna be alright. Dry those eyes, we'll be back in the morning when the sun starts to rise. So mama, don't stress your mind. So mama, don't stress your mind. Where shall we run to? We got a ticket that takes us wherever we like. We got our problems, but just put them in and let's push all our troubles aside. Alright, cause we got the keys to the universe inside our lives. Yeah, we got the keys, man.
So essentially, you expect by quite some way the lowest finishing time in the Clark history of the 5 years of the Clark 100.
It's going to be over 19 hours this year. Never gone that far to find a winner. The heat, the course, the new course, I don't know, the first lap seemed to go by pretty well, but from here to Rockwood proving challenging. But it shouldn't be long until we do see what we are going to presume to be Mzwake Kanyile win his second Clark 100. Having won it in 2019, gave it a good shot last year, but went off course, and that counted against him. I think managed a third place at the end of the day. Really tried to chase it down, but didn't quite get there. But looking like he's going to take the win. Shouldn't be long. Here comes another. There we go. Welcome to the next 50-miler finisher. Just styling it across the finish line here. If I'm right, that is our 7th place in the 50-miler. Superb effort. Familiar face from this morning at the shuttles and we sent you the other way. But there we go, Ian McLeod coming 4th in the men's here. In fact, 5th in the men, 7th overall.
I thought you were finished.
run away from this land. You'll be ashamed forever and ever. You gotta come and lay it all down. I can see your face, whatever the weather. And you'll see these arms get open, and you are gonna feel this life is spoken to me, spoken to me. I'm gonna find this way. I'm never gonna break. I'm never gonna break my home. And if you find this way, I'm never gonna be out. Never gonna be alone. I think you've done a little too much.
Here we go. Next 50-miler finisher. Everybody in the house is in the final straight here. Let's give him a warm round of applause. It might not be 100 miles, but it's 50 miles, and that's 80 kilometers, more than 80 kilometers, just shy of the Comrades Marathon distance. Here on the trail, not in the mountains, but Ignatius Gojina. Welcome home. Iggy is the nickname apparently.
Shorter distances.
be a moment. And I think all in all, like considering the conditions, the team, the place, I was saying to Lauren, like I felt like this is almost a walk in the park. Andrew speaking. What aid station are you at? Okay, Rockwood doesn't have bags. You have bags at Bush Willow, and you have Rockwood out of drop station. Bush Willow. Your drop bag was a previous aid station. It wasn't. It's not at Rockwood. It was at Bush Willow. Yeah, I'll see if I can get you back as soon as possible. But yeah, Bush. Look, I will do my best, but the drop bags were for Bush Willow, sir. So I know we've had a mistake here, but I'll do my best. I am dealing with a huge number of logistics, and to get two torches, I'll do my absolute best. But yeah, we'll make a plan. We'll make a plan. We'll make a plan. It's almost easier to make a plan this side. Yeah, cool. Thanks, sir. Cheers. My drop bag's not here. I was like, well, what age? I'm at Rockwood. Well, no, I don't have my headlamp for tonight. I was like, well, we didn't know that. We didn't know it was there. I was like, well, what do you want me to say? So I said, look, I'll try and get it for you. Some details I'm not here, and it was written down. So I pushed back the slide. So I could hear you. When I pushed back slide, okay, well then even just a headlamp. Okay. What is his name? I don't know. He's got a funny accent. I could see he was so annoyed. It gets a bit to me as well when like someone will see me walking through there and they'll go, when's it even? Everyone asks me because you know that most of the time I have
all the way.
Yes, the answer is call. We must have about 15 oaks out of 100 already, I think. And they're bailing at the problem is they're bailing at Rockwood. We're gonna have to go send someone there. Although I have given the code to one person so far just to go. I said to Carl, and then let's see how we go. I'm happy to go back out there. I've cut off the for Bentley. Yeah, no. What's going on? Oh, no, corners. Yeah. They were funny when I got there. Almost 12 last night, or 12 o'clock. Yeah. The setup, essentially, you'll see on the photos, the setup that Carlo actually did was they put their gazebos right against the trees at BNB. So everyone came straight out and like sat on that grass like we spoke about, which is really, really lacquer. And then
our gazebo was like right back high up, the tent, sorry, which was quite nice because then I just put bunting and I separated that and I kept all the 50 milers up at the top and then had a little bit of a shoot to get down. But it was quite nice, like we thought, like yeah, those gazebos under the trees there. Everyone's picking it.
All right, there, spotters off the course telling us we've only got 2 more minutes to wait. And we'll see the winner of the Kepler 100 miler come into the house here. But before we welcome him, let's welcome our next 50 miler finisher from the Southern Lodestar Foundation. There we go, placing well inside the top 10, Simpiwe. Nice work there, Simpiwe Satoli in on the 50 miler, lots of energy. I think the temperatures are dropping and the spirits are picking. I sense it, it's happening.
Hold that in front of him. Oh,
If everyone can cast their eyes onto the main field here, we've been waiting for this moment, despite it being one of the slower times to win the Kepler 100 miler. A win is a win, and it's a win on a 100-mile course. A new course, lots of it similar to before, but there are some changes. We know it's Mzwake. Mzwake Kanyile having won the race in 2019, as I said, 2020 he entered but went off course, chased hard but couldn't quite do it. But this year, no mistakes. He's been in the running from the beginning. He was up front here, a couple of people trying to keep his pace, but with no success. Had a few paces coming back here. And now we're on the edge of his moment of glory.
Can you turn it on? Just so you're ready. Okay. So I'm going to come to you now so that you can do the intro and say what's happening, and then I'll cut to it forever. Ready?
The live pictures of the Kepler 100 miler here at the Kepler Country Club. Things are getting really exciting here. We've got our leader, Mzwake Kanyile. He's not going to repeat his course record time of 17 hours 27 from 2019. He tried to emulate that last year, but unfortunately went off course and finished 4th that year, if I'm not mistaken. But he is the man that is coming over. He's going to take the victory today. It's going to be one of the slowest times ever in the history of the Kepler 100 miler, but times are irrelevant. It's a victory that counts, and Mzwake Kanyile is going to be your 2021 Kepler 100 miler champion.
The music's going to be
I'm saying it's not here. We're just going to talk to you. Hold on.
Zwakir, congratulations, congratulations. Please take a seat.
Have a seat.
Zwakir, you need to talk into this. Yes, you hold that, and you'll talk into it. Tell me when you're ready. Mzwaki, congratulations. You're the champion of the Kepler 100 miler 2021. How do you feel?
No, I'm feeling well. I'm glad because it was my target to try to do my best. Yes.
And you did your best.
Yes. And then secondly, I'm on a plan. I said I don't want to chase anyone. I want to chase my dream. So that's why I came first.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Was there any time where you felt low, or did you feel strong the whole way?
But at last, I was not feeling well because I was cramping. So anyway, I was using my experience to run and walk. So I'm glad because I was scared maybe a second runner it will come.
Yes.
So anyway, I use my experience to run my whole race.
And you are experienced on this course. You've run it before. You're the course record holder. How did that feel to chase your dream a second time?
But I decided to say, in life, you don't have to compare your life with others. As I said, I want to do the best in 2021 because 2019 I won. So I said it's the second time now. So it was my dream to do the best in my life.
You've achieved that. You've achieved great things, and you should be proud. We're all proud for you. Congratulations.
Welcome home. We've just had number 848. There she goes, her victory jump in on the marathon and sending out on the other side one of our milers. Nice one, Bongi.
Well, Mzwake Kanyile, the 2021 Kepler 100-mile champion. Beautiful interview there, Linda. He got quite emotional.
He did. I was worried he might shed a tear or two before I shed a tear or two. Yeah, admittedly, it's not easy to be interviewed when you've just crossed the line, but we wanted to capture that emotion, and you know, he was so humble and yet so happy. He didn't want to say as much, but I could see he did himself proud. He said he wanted to run for his heart. He was chasing his dream, and he did it. It makes him the second. This is his second win. He also has the course record. 2019, he set the course record significantly faster than this year. But hey, he's blitzed it. He really did. With a good lead.
And if I'm not mistaken, the first time someone has won the Kepler 100 mile twice in the 5 editions. So great mark of a champion there, as you said, very humble. And his main concern was being caught by the second runner, but today he had nothing to worry about with that at all. It's going to be interesting to see who does come in the second. Will it still be Andrea Erasmus? Will it be Admaya Muzompambwa? Or will it be our First Lady, Jo Kepler, who's chasing them down?
Wow. And I wonder if they have had anybody communicating the message to them, those two guys, that there is a woman hot on their heels. Because of course Jo will know because she's behind them. So she'll be reeling them in because that's the game. And providing she's got the strength, which she certainly looked as though she had, and she has the desire. I know Jo, she's competitive. She's hungry to do her very best in this race. So she'll be chasing these guys down, and they will be fleeing if they know that there is a woman hot on their heels.
Most definitely, and as we saw just after Mzwakhe crossed the line there was a beautiful shot of the People's Trophy, and that will be every single athlete who finishes the 100 miler today. Their name will appear on that trophy, and Mzwakhe Kanyile, his name on there first today.
Yeah, isn't that a wonderful concept? It's about everyone's a winner. Everyone who finishes this race before the cutoff is a winner in their own right, and they all get their name on a trophy. It's a beautiful sentiment.
A fitting tribute to the athletes. You know, starting last night at 8 o'clock, the winner has just come in now. We're going to see athletes crossing the line all the way through the night until tomorrow morning with the 36-hour cutoff. And just at the bottom of your screen there, that is the People's Trophy. Beautiful trophy there. Every single athlete who completes the 100 mile will get their name on there. Everyone's a winner here, and I'd love to see the size of this trophy in 5 years from now.
Absolutely. I can't quite picture how this is going to work, because that will remain the same trophy. It will just grow as the number of runners each year achieve their buckle for that year's Kepler 100 miler. And of course, with each year, as this race grows in popularity and as we shed COVID and COVID becomes history, so many more runners will come from afar, and this race will attract an international competition.
Yeah, definitely. That was one of the